Today, I want to start by giving you a very popular Swahili idiom or saying, haba na haba hujaza kibaba. Haba na haba hujaza kibaba. It kind of rhymes, doesn't it? It simply means little by little, we get it done. Um, if you speak Spanish, poco a poco. That's a very popular saying in Spanish, too. I guess the whole world has a version of this particular idiom. It basically means a little by little gets the job done, or little by little will fill up the container. So that is a very popular saying, haba na haba, hujaza kibaba. You need to put that in the back pocket somewhere, and you can pull it out anytime you want to impress a Swahili speaking person. They're going to love you for it. Okay, so today we want to talk Swahili with using verbs to create intelligent sentences that are used day by day. All right, so something like this. Kutafuta mke mrembo, right there on top, to find a wife. I know that's funny, but I just thought, it'd be interesting to put that in there. Nahitaji, I need. That's the verb on the very extreme left-hand side. Nataka, I want. Napenda, I like or I love. Those two words are interchangeable. It's the same word in Swahili. It's context based. Naweza, I can. So you can use any one of those very popular verbs in any language, really. And in Swahili especially, it's very easy because you can take any one of those words, plug it in behind or in front of any one of these other statements, and you got a very clear and good, intelligent sentence. And of course, these are day by day. These are not words that are from, ancient times. We don't learn anything archaic here because we want to stay present and futuristic. Because that's where we got to go where the language is going, where humanity is headed. So, nataka kutafuta mke mrembo. You didn't have to change a thing. Just take it, plug it, and go. I want to find a wife. Nataka kutafuta mke mrembo. You say, oh, well, what about the other ones? You can literally plug nataka in front of any one of the other sentences, and I'll add a few more here for you, and you will be 100% correct. So let's try, for instance, I want to look forward. Nataka kutazama mbele. All right, so if you go straight across on the right-hand side, on the second statement there, kunywa chai, to drink tea. And let's just grab, for instance, not I want, but I need, nahitaji. Nahitaji kunywa chai. See how Swahili is so easy. There's very little conjugation, if any. In this case, it's not. I love to open the door, if that's something you love doing, to move to the city. You can say that. I love to eat food. Napenda kula msosi. Sosi is the street word for chakula, which is the official word for food. Chakula. You can say napenda kula chakula. Or you can say napenda kula msosi, and that's just fine. You can say napenda kunywa chai. I like to drink tea. Naweza. Naweza, I can. Naweza kwenda kwa tamasha. I can go to the party. Naweza kuishi pwani. I can live in the coast. Naweza kununua gari. I'm just reading through, I'm grabbing in one of the sentences here and plugging it in, no changes whatsoever, and you've got a completely 100% correct Swahili sentence. Now, before we move on, let me give you a quick test. How would you say, I want to solve a problem? I want to solve a problem. Look at the middle column, the fourth statement. So you're going to grab Nataka, which is extreme left, middle column, fourth sentence. Nataka kutatua shida. You got it. You're not changing anything. I love Swahili. Nataka kutatua shida. So you can literally just keep back and forth and practice with any one of these. If you want to just screenshot this or just come back as many times as you wish and practice, you will be so conversant in Swahili in no time. I want to touch on the bottom part of the left-hand side there. Ningependa, I would like. So it's kind of like the conjugated part of nataka is I want, ningependa is I would like. And that's a very common way to say things. If you don't want to say I want, you can say I would like. So let's say I would like to travel the world. Middle column, somewhere in the middle there. Ningependa kusafiri dunia. So look at that again. There's only one instance here I'm going to highlight that you may need to conjugate a little bit, but everything else is plug and play. Everything is plug and play, plug and play, plug and play. All right, take a stab at this one. How would you say, I need to open the window? I'll give you a clue. It's going to be the extreme right-hand side, somewhere in the middle. I would like to open the window. Ningependa kufungua dirisha. I would like to open the window. So easy. Okay, so ningependa is I would like. Nakwenda, I'm going to. Same idea. You could say, I'm going to move to the city, right? I'm going to move to the city. And that's going to be found on the extreme right-hand side, somewhere in the middle. Ni nakwenda kuhamia mjini. Nakwenda kuhamia mjini. I would like, or I'm going to give my opinion. How would you say that in Swahili? How would you say, I would like to give my opinion? Ningependa kutoa maoni yangu. All right, what about I tend to? Nina uzoefu. Let's use the same sentence. I tend to give an opinion. Nina uzoefu wa kutoa maoni. All right. Here comes one that may be a little bit of an exception. So we're going to skip over it and come back to it. Ni lazima, ni, I have to. The jury's out on this one because I've had people use, in certain parts of Swahili, I have had people use that one without conjugating it a little differently. But I think in parts of the Swahili speaking nation, there are people who will conjugate it a little differently. Actually, we might as well just deal with it. So ni lazima, I have to. Ni lazima, I have to. So let's just go back to the top. And let's use the extreme right-hand side to eat food. So I have to eat food, right? I have to eat food. Pretty straightforward. In Swahili, how would you say that? Ni lazima kula msosi. So there are some parts of Swahili speaking nation, that's how they say that. And it's absolutely, you know, nothing wrong with that. But if you really want to sound very versant in Swahili, you probably could say ni lazima nikule msosi. So you don't want to say, I mean, you can say ni lazima kula msosi. Sounds like a command. But ni lazima nikule, it's more of the personal pronoun, which is what we're using right now. I need to eat, or I have to eat some food. And finally, we'll get back to that in a minute, so don't worry about it. In all of these lessons, my goal is not for you to memorize or try to task your brain with cramming things. That never works. That only works in school, you know, when you're trying to cram some topics so you can pass the test tomorrow. But then the experience has been that after that, very little retention happens after that. And so we approach learning, which is all the languages I've learned. I use this method, which is I don't force my brain to learn. I let it flow like a river, and it comes to you easier. And then your retention level is higher. Think about a kid. When a kid is growing, they hear little words here and there, and within no time, they're speaking that language. And that becomes second nature to them. So I think it's the same way. Let's just let it flow. So don't worry too much if you encounter something that's a little bit of a stumbling block. Just leave it there. You will come back to it, and little by little, we'll break it up. Haba na haba, hujaza kibaba. So, nime amor. I'm back to the right extreme left hand column in the bottom, the very last sentence there. Nime amor. I have decided. I have decided. This one's also easy because you can plug in any one of these sentences in the middle column and in the left hand column, excuse me, right hand column, and you will be perfectly correct. So, for instance, let's use nimeamua kurudi shuleni. I have decided to go back to school. That's a very direct sentence. I'm using the middle column, the very bottom. Nimeamua kurudi shuleni. How about we use the right-hand column, the very bottom statement, not to repeat the mistakes. Kutorudia makosa. Nimeamua kutorudia makosa. I have decided not to repeat the mistakes. You know, we want to go up the line there. Nimeamua kuandaa karamu. I have decided to host a party. I'd like to point out something here. If you go to the very bottom sentence on the right-hand corner, kutorudia. We can come back to this later on a different lesson, but notice if we were going to say, I have decided to repeat, which, well, we didn't want to do that, but let's just say for the sake of learning, I have decided to repeat the mistakes. Nimeamua kurudia. So you do the to turns the kutorudia, becomes a negative sentence because of the to. If you remove the to, it becomes a positive sentence. Nimeamua kurudia makosa. Kutorudia, not to repeat the mistake. And it's the same thing with any other words. If you pick up the one next, right above it, kuandaa, to host a party, kuandaa karamu. If you put to, kutoandaa karamu, then it becomes a negative, which means I have decided not to host a party. Kuandaa karamu, to host a party, not to host, kutoandaa. And the one right above it, kupika chakula, to cook food. Oh, there's that word, chakula msosi, same thing. Kupika chakula, to cook food. Kutopika chakula, not to cook food. See how that goes? So to in the middle becomes, or in the beginning, right after the ku, becomes a negative sentence. Kununua gari, the fourth one up from the bottom. To buy a car. Kununua gari. Kutonunua gari. To not buy a car. And you can keep going with that one as you go along. If you want to look at a few more here, we do have some more examples that I'm not really going to go through. I just want to give you some time to either screenshot or kind of look at it and let your brain just dance along with this one, because it's exactly the same. We're just plugging in, plug and play, plug and play. You can take any one of these verbs, plug it behind any one of these sentences, and you are making sense. You're speaking with a lot of intelligence in Swahili, you know, um, with the exception, of course, of the ni lazima ni. And that, again, I said, it is in some parts of Swahili speaking culture, they prefer to say ni pate instead of kupata, for instance. So I'm going to leave you with this. The first one there, napenda kutazama mpira. We're just grabbing napenda from the extreme left-hand side and plugging behind the very top there. Napenda kutazama mpira. I like to watch football. Or you can say, I love to watch football. Nahitaji kurudi nyumbani. What do you think that means? Nahitaji, I need. Kurudi, to return or to go back. Nyumbani, home. I need to go back home. And now here comes the tricky one. Ni lazima. I have to. Ni lazima, ni. Okay, so ni lazima nipate bahati. For instance, I have to find good luck. I'll have to get good luck. I'm grabbing that from the extreme right hand, third down, third up, excuse me, third from the bottom. Ni lazima. So some people would say it is correct to say ni lazima kupata bahati. And it is actually correct. It just depends on what you're trying to say. If you're trying to make it like a command, bring down the law, you must get good luck. You can say ni lazima kupata bahati. I'm determined that I'm going to get good luck. But in more of the, I would say really more of the school, the way they would teach you in school, they would say ni lazima nipate bahati. Ni lazima nipate bahati. So this right here becomes ni instead of ku, and then pa, te. There's many pate bahati. And this conjugation will be applied in any one of these words or these statements up here. You can just change everything. For instance, let's just say I have to be late for the meeting. This one right here. You would simply say ni lazima ni instead of ku. Move the ku, you put the ni there, and then chele stays, and then instead of wa, you can chele we. See? So don't task your mind with that too much right now. Just enjoy this. And like I said, it's so easy to plug and play. And once your brain gets used to that, you're gonna find yourself waking up with Swahili in your lips without much effort. And that's my hope. That's where we're headed, guys. So thank you for being with us today. Hope you learned something useful. Keep on climbing, and I will see you at the top.
Oh mama, oh mama, nasema asante mama, hakuna mwingine kama mama, alinibeba ndani yake.